What is it about nuclear weapons? What is it that mean that they attract attention and discussion and treaties and conferences in a way no other type of weapon seems to do? Is it because they are the ultimate weapon? Is it because they are the ultimate guarantor of our security, the ultimate insurance policy for our survival? No, because they are none of these things. They are not the ultimate weapon. They guarantee nothing at all, and they're not an insurance policy of any sort, let alone an effective one. Don't get me wrong, when a few years ago I was given the opportunity to vote on whether we replaced ballistic submarines, I voted in favour, and if I had the opportunity again tomorrow, which I won't because now I'm a happy ex-politician, I might vote the same way again, although with an increasing degree of reluctance and for reasons that have really got very little to do with nuclear deterrence. But let's begin looking at what nuclear weapons are for. A fundamental question of some importance. In the early days of the Second World War, clearly they were the ultimate weapon. The issue was which side got one first. The side that did and that was prepared to use it got a major advantage. And although there is some dispute about whether it was the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki that actually caused the Japanese to surrender, clearly it must have played some part. And then nuclear weapons became the standoff weapon in the Cold War. Two power blocks confronting each other with the expectation of mutually assured destruction, but neither side mad, both completely sane. And the NATO side then began to rely on nuclear weapons as a sort of tripwire. If the Soviet Union, widely, though possibly wrongly thought to have conventional superiority, attacked a NATO country, then we could respond with nuclear weapons, so we didn't need to spend so much on conventional weapons. So we didn't. So nuclear weapons became NATO's defense on the cheap. And then the Cold War ended. Because in the West we had a better economic system, we won the economic war and were able to outspend the Soviet Union, which collapsed economically rather than militarily. So we all breathed a sigh of relief and decided the world was now a safer place. Laughable when we look back now, but that's what we thought. And so we took the peace dividend, having already been spending less on conventional defense than arguably we should have been. We failed to appreciate that as the world broke into separate, unstable factions, some of them driven by religious ideologies that seemed to prefer death to life, nuclear deterrence became less effective. And as the knowledge of how to build powerful weapons, including but not limited to nuclear weapons, spread, the world was becoming exponentially more vulnerable and less secure. We in the developed world increased our dependence on technology and at the same time invented brilliant new ways to attack that technology on which we now totally relied. More vulnerability. And we carried on cutting our spending on defense. It may seem odd, but in the days of mutually assured destruction, we weren't mad. We are now. Let me give you the scenario of the poor man's nuclear bomb. I'm not talking here about the poor state's nuclear bomb, because the speed of development in computers means that what used to be a technology available only to states becomes available nowadays to individuals within a matter of years. Here's the poor man's nuclear bomb. His name, just to be uncontroversial, is Mr. Arbuthnot. Poor Mr. Arbuthnot. Mr. Arbuthnot is a bit of a whiz at computer hacking. So clearly we're not talking about me here. Mr. Arbuthnot has found a way to plant a devastating virus in the computers of National Grid. He infects their system so that our electricity network collapses. Maybe you are confident that that could not happen. I tell you that National Grid is coming under attack from states probing their defenses every minute of every day. And if you still believe it couldn't happen, you sweet, naive young things, I only quote to you the words of Oliver Cromwell, "I beseech you in the bowels of Christ, think it possible that you may be mistaken." So here we have the collapse of our electricity network. And this collapse has cascading consequences. Feeling happy still? There is no money, because although all money is actually an idea based on confidence, the ultimate confidence trick, our money is entirely electronic. If there is no money, no social security payments, no hole-in-the-wall cash machines, no food, no access to shops, looting, social order breaks down within a matter of hours. There is disruption to our chain of command to deal with that. There are no communications, there is no water, no petrol. And, interestingly, our nuclear reactors need to rely on backup generators to keep their cores cooled. But in a society falling apart because of the effects of cascade, for how long do you expect an ordered and disciplined workforce to be able to supply their generators with diesel? Mr. Arbuthnot is confident that it won't be long. Now, I sense some of you may be feeling a little gloomy at this stage, so let's change the subject to ballistic missile defense. The United States is spending billions of dollars on defending us all against ballistic missiles, and I'd like to say to the USA, thank you very much. It's true that countries like Iran and North Korea are themselves spending lots of money on extending the range of their missiles, so the USA may be getting value for money. But if I were North Korea and I had a few nuclear warheads, would I stick them on a ballistic missile, the most technologically challenging way to deliver anything? No, I'd put one in a container and put the container on a ship. In evidence to the Defence Select Committee in the last Parliament, Lord Hennessy told us, in September 1950, a group commissioned by the Chiefs of Staff and working under the cover name of the Imports Research Committee contemplated an atomic bomb in a Russian or Soviet bloc vessel in a British port, or the detonation of an atomic bomb in a suicide civil aircraft flying low over a key point. The committee concluded that, short of firing at every strange civil aircraft that appears over our shores, we know of no way of preventing an aircraft that sets out on such a mission from succeeding. Lord Hennessy went on, Prime Minister Attlee was so briefed, as was Mr. Churchill, once returned to Downing Street, by the Cabinet Secretary Sir Norman Brooke. Brooke explained to Churchill that I have taken no further initiative to raise the matter, since I myself believe that this is a risk against which we cannot at present take in normal times any effective precautions. And if that did happen, against whom would we use our nuclear deterrent, which by then would have failed in its fundamental purpose? I once put that question to an Israeli professor who said, "That's easy. You retaliate against those you think might have done it. And if you get it wrong, well, they had it coming." He takes a robust view of nuclear deterrence, and who are we to say that he is wrong? Somehow, I think you may still be feeling a little gloomy. So I want to change the subject again. I want to look at the issue of our deterrent submarines and their stealth. It's possible, though I'm not sure, that we may have reduced the stealth of our ballistic submarines over the last few years by having no maritime patrol aircraft, thus allowing the Russians and others to collect information that might be of help to them. But let's consider the proposition that it will not forever be possible to hide our submarines under the sea, because sooner or later someone will come up with a technology that makes the seas transparent to satellites. In the Defence Select Committee inquiries in the 2005 Parliament, we were told that the transparency of the seas has been predicted for many decades, and it still hasn't come about. But someday it may. And to all those who are so confident that this is one area where human technology will fail, I only say Oliver Cromwell. So, despite all of that, why on earth do I think it might still be worthwhile to spend money on this program that may not deter, that may end up being visible under the sea, that cannot be used against terrorist groups, our most likely threat, that might be thought to cause such collateral damage that even buying it might be illegal? What on earth can I be thinking? Well, what I think is this. I believe that having nuclear weapons is, for the British, a gut issue, an expression of our determination to defend ourselves. It sends a message to our enemies and, also importantly, to our friends. Yes, it also preserves our submarine industry, and that's important too. But if we were to abandon our nuclear weapons, or make them less effective by stepping away from the continuous at-sea defense posture, we would be sending the opposite message to friend and foe alike. We'd be saying, treat the UK as badly as you like, trash those values for which our parents and grandparents died. We are no longer prepared to stand up in our own defense. And God knows we're sending enough of those messages already. That's it. Hope you're happy.